Denmark, London, all over the world. Wow, that's so cool. And it's a holiday in the United States today, so appreciate everybody showing up. We got Alberto Chavez from Costa Rica, Pura Vida. I used to live in Costa Rica, so
Daniel from Germany.
yeah, so cool. Iran, Karsten, hello. That's so cool. All
Cool.
right.
I Let me just share my screen and get started.
Yeah, so our last Discord office hours was yesterday, and excited about doing this workshop today, going through everything with everybody. So, um, Denver, hand it over to you.
Yeah, so I think by now you probably know who all of us are. And yeah, we have Will, who's our senior advocate at Base. We have me from Devfolio and Aniket also from Devfolio. And well, yeah, it's been quite a week, hasn't it? Uh, Certainly doesn't feel like Wednesday. Um,
I
yeah,
think like when you do things on chain, or you're doing things in crypto, that like one crypto year, one crypto month is like 7 normie years or 7 months. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's been a great build-a-thon. There's only, I think I was looking today, there's only about 11 days left, I think, to submit projects, and we're seeing it from, us three from our side and other people on the team. Still, every day there's all kinds of new people registering for the Buildathon. So it's just like, usually I think from what you are saying, like it kind of drops off like after initial beginning, and it's just like more and more people still joining the Buildathon. So cool.
yeah, it's been incredible, right? And we'll talk about the stats in a bit. Like we were almost like ready to close registrations, and we were like, with the tsunami of applications that's been coming in, we were like, no, we need to hold out. You want to share take a look at the stats that we have? Yeah, so the on-chain summer buildathon, we have had people from 1,400 plus cities across 120 countries, and 5,000 of you have staked to build. This is certainly, I think, in my memory, one of the biggest, if not the biggest, Web3 hackathon that's been
Wow.
posted. Um, Definitely the biggest we have had so far on Devfolio. And we
So
never thought
cool.
that day would come soon. But here we are. And yeah, super excited to see the submissions come in.
I was looking at this slide, and I was like 120 countries, and I was like, how many countries are there on the planet? And so 120 countries, it's like 2/3 of all the countries in the planet. And just as an aside from the Buildathon, it like and to sound cheesy, it just makes me so happy and like lifts my heart, because like this world right now is, in my opinion, like maybe the most divided I've ever seen it in my life. There's people angry all over the place, arguing, these closed systems breaking down, and this is like 120 countries of people that are all part of this together. We're all trying to make something better, and just knowing that, like, like on the other side of Discord, Telegram, wherever, like this avatar, it's a person that's like aligned with that. It's like, oh, it makes me feel so optimistic about just what we're doing, what we're building. So I think like it's just so cool to see people from all over doing that.
Yeah, it's actually two-thirds of all countries. It's like crazy, right?
So
Yeah.
cool.
Right. So I think today we really want to talk a bit about first off, like what really makes a good buildathon project, what we're looking for. And as we talk through that, we'll talk about how to make the submissions on Devfolio a while later, but I think it's important to talk about what we're really looking for, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so something that's pretty important as a hackathon submission is that we're not looking just for sort of proposals of what you can build, right? Give us the meat, give us the action. So we're looking for a live project link that the judges can test, can look into, try to peek behind, and that really gets things going, right? Well,
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I've seen this kind of permutations of a question in the community over the last couple weeks, and it's like, hey, should I put this in my submission? Should I put that? And like, for example, should I put my GitHub repo in? What about like, should I put in a quick, pitch video, just explaining it, explainer video? Those are good things, but the most important thing that you can put in a submission above everything else is the link that a judge can click on, because that's also the link that a person in the community can use to actually be able to connect with what you build. And that's the goal of the Buildathon is like, this is course of June. By early July, like the people that have built things that are live, that are out there, that throughout on-chain summer people can connect with, it's like a big separation in terms of like submissions, because a lot of people, it's like one of the hardest things about building something is getting out of that ideation phase and just committing like, okay, I'm gonna solve the technical hurdles. Okay, and now like I want to try to put this out there to a user. So just incorporating that into your submission, like these judges, they're going to be looking at having that first impression is going to say 1,000, 2,000 words more than you could ever put in, a paragraph, like to try to really dial into explain. The link's the most important part.
yeah. We are also looking for a clear USP, and then a fair amount of experimentation, but then also typically one clear thing that we can identify that you are doing better than what's out there currently, right? So, uh, I mean, like a lot of times what happens is that in our experience, a lot of hackers try to build a lot of small features, but the story kind of gets lost in the weeds, right? And as folks who are taking a look at your project as judges, they kind of miss on what was the most unique aspect of your project. But that is something that you should be focusing on, really telling your story. And it's better to focus on one major innovation rather than tons of smaller ones, right?
Yeah, and I saw a question from Jose in the chat box. He said, "What is a USP?" So that's a unique selling point, and to phrase it a different way, is like it should be really clear when somebody goes to your site, your on-chain app, what it does. And it's like I think being in this space for some time, all of us here as builders, we get this kind of familiarity with a lot of these really technical things around us, and sometimes it's hard to lose sight of, hey, what's the person that's coming on chain for the first time, or what's a person that's never used this type of on-chain app before gonna think like in the first 5 to 10 seconds that they load this page. And that's the unique selling point. And so another way that we also like frame it often, like in the US, for example, is we'll say like, how does this pass the mom test? And what that means is like, whether it's your mom or somebody else, it's like, just imagine somebody that's like, maybe, well, I guess there probably are some really technical mothers out there. So, but I know my mom, I put her on some of these apps. She's not going to have any clue what's going on. So it's like, it should be really clear, thinking about your target audience, like all kinds of personas within that target audience. Right when they go to that page, it should be unique and clear what it's about, how it's going to work, and this is how they're going to use it. So Christina's a mom. So maybe I should asterisk that and say like the stereotypical mom test. Like if you Google it, it's like, how do we take people that like our own mothers, maybe that come from these times where like the internet didn't even exist, I think, for like half their life. And so now, we're bringing them into these settings where we're like, yeah, like let's, you know, like, let me see your bags. What NFTs do you have? Like, it's like our own, street slang of crypto. And like that kind of stuff is what makes it hard to unlock like the next billion users we're bringing on chain. So those types of funny things. So
I think Kian is asking, like he's just asked it, they've just asked it to the host and panelists, so I'm just going to read it out aloud. Depends on the users that they are targeting. Is the requirement to be normie friendly? Well, not particularly. You should fit it to your target audience. As long as your target audience gets it, I think it should be fine. Like you can feel free to go crazy for your target audience, but if you are targeting like DeFi power users, then it should make sense to them, right?
yeah, like one click base node deployment, like super infra. Yeah, of course, like not gonna be, it's gonna be like a really specific niche. But yeah, most importantly in that, like if you think about, hey, 100 people, 100 node operators, for example, like you want the majority of them, ideally 100% of them within the first 5 to 10 seconds that they go to your page to all come to the same conclusion. Like, if you think about going into like a fast food restaurant, for example, we all are different people, but we go in there and we're able to engage, like purchase, transact. And that's kind of similar model. Like, how easy is it for people to get in, understand what you're doing, and then actually use what you made? So
All right. We're going to talk about this certain criteria that we have internally that we'll be tracking projects on. I'm just going to read them out. So the first and foremost is on-chain, then technicality, practicality, originality, aesthetics, and wow factor. Now, I'll let Will talk about on-chain, but technicality just means how much technical depth there is in your project. Practicality is that is it really practical for people to use? Originality is how novel the idea is. Aesthetics is does the UI UX look good? And is it usable? And does it also some points for looking good, not all of them. And also like the last thing is hard to quantify, which is really wow factor. And yeah, like in our perspective, on chain really means like how much of the product is on chain. Will, do you want to
yeah,
pick it
yeah,
up?
definitely. So just on the on-chain note, so it's like I've been in the space, I think, for probably about maybe 11 or 12 years now. I started in Bitcoin, a bunch of really talented people building in Bitcoin, and one kind of like headwind, a challenge that we would always hear is like, oh, we can't do things because it's too slow. And so, anyways, like still lots of cool development happening there. Also with like Lightning and whatnot. Moving on to ETH mainnet, L1, a lot of super talented developers there. And then again, we're having this issue like, oh, well, we can't do this. It's too expensive. And this is actually one of the first times now ever, I think in the like last 11 or 12 years, like I said, where we're actually not limited by technology. It's actually possible to do things on chain now fast, inexpensively. Like for example, like with Base, we just raised the gas limit again this past week. It's like fractions of a cent to transact on chain. So it's really important, like as we think about we're building something better for this world, this whole world that's really fracturing in front of us right now with a lot of these older antiquated systems that have been so closed off to other parts of the world that they actually can't support further growth. And so, in order to be thinking about beyond this buildathon, beyond this submission, something that you're unlocking in the world that makes it better, it should really connect that dot of finally like the next user, the next person that hasn't been on chain before, helping them get on chain. And that, I think, is going to be a real key ingredient that you see in some of these submissions that end up winning in the different tracks, is how, like, alongside these other niches, how they check that box of really smoothly creating an on-chain experience.
Yeah, sounds good. And yeah, just something that struck me around this is like Will mentioning that you've been in the space since 10 or 12 years. That's like literally in crypto times, like equivalent to being around since the dinosaurs walked the earth
Yeah, I'm like 800
long
years
ago.
old now. There's a lot of us in here. Like, there's a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum builders, other network builders that are converging right now. And so it's really cool, like doing office hours over the last couple weeks. It's just like all these different people. We're like seeing that, like, finally, like these other things that have been blocking me aren't blocking me now. And so with that, like, accomplishment, we've now unlocked an even greater challenge, which is, okay, the technology's not in the way, but like, how do we make it easy for people to get on chain? And that's really the key, ethos of this buildathon. You look at these different tracks, like payments, gaming, social, uh, creators, trading, like those are all segments in an open economy. And that's really what this is. We're building a new open economy for everyone. We're not part of this like stuff that just hasn't been working for the majority of our lives. We're all opting into something better. So that's where I feel like we're all, with that gift of being able to have the opportunity to build in this space, we also have our own challenge of how do we make it easier for people to come into this space. So, and just, I know we're going to continue on to some other slides, but think about like just where we've come in the last really um, 15, 20 years, like with smartphones and whatnot. Think about even just like the iPhone. When the iPhone launched, it opened up this new era of technology. And this idea of like an app store was something so abstract to like a lot of people. And we're actually in that place right now with being able to do things on chain. And if you look back as like a builder with that mindset and think like, well, what if I had built one of the first apps that were in the app store? Like, what would have happened like with people that I might have been able to engage with, business that I might have been able to do? And that's actually the moment that we're at right now. Because we're not limited by technology anymore, you have a chance to build something that's like one of the first on-chain apps in a global open and permissionless app store. And so that's just the kind of mental model that I think it's important to try to frame in your submission, is how are you unlocking a specific niche? It doesn't have to be, the biggest social network on earth. There's billions of people on this earth. So if you solve a specific problem for a group of people, that's going to be a lot of people. You build something for node operators, using that earlier example, that's a lot of people. And so you have the opportunity right now to be one of the first people to solve their problems with your app.
Super cool. Let's talk about stuff. Yeah, here's an example of the things that we were talking about. This is a project that was built at ETH Prague in last year in 2023, and on base. And we'll just drop the link in the chat for folks to check out. But something that we really liked for this project is that they had a clear USP. They had a live demo when the project was during the judging process, and they really went ahead and explained everything, their whole story and how they got to what they were building well, and what also how they ended up solving the problem they wanted to. So this is like sort of an example that you can use as a reference when you're building out your project submission.
And then one thing I would add to this, like I've talked about this in office hours, but for people that haven't heard this, so there's still like I think 11 days left in this buildathon. Another thing that you can really do to set yourself apart from others that are also building is launching early, submitting early, showing in your submission like, hey, the Buildathon began June 1st. We had already done something before, but then we focused in, or we only had this idea, we dove right in. But here we are, it's June 19th. By shortly after the middle of the month, we already put something out there and we're engaging with community. We're talking to our users. They gave us this feedback. We had this problem. We had a whole set of problems. Actually, what we originally thought wasn't what people wanted at all. So then we pivoted and did something else. Like, these are really like the hardest parts of building something. And so being able to show that you're thinking like, a creator, a maker, and trying to find product market fit is like expert mode for launching and building on chain. And so people that can do that, you don't have to just, hey, we launched something, we have 20 people using it now. We're talking, we have a community we formed. It's here, it's this Discord link. Checking a box of something that you can include in that submission alongside the live link, but showing that like this is a legit bona fide project that we're building. We're putting it out there. This isn't just an idea. This isn't like a just a presentation. This is the real deal. And so people that do that are going to be the types of projects not only that you see winning in the Buildathon, but winning on chain. Like using that analogy that I said about being in the App Store, the actual on chain apps that, wow, I just saw that in On Chain Daily. Oh my gosh. Like I remember that builder in the Buildathon. A lot of these people that you see out there that are successful, every single one of them has had to start with making something that nobody used. They've all had to go through this like awkward period of I had this idea, I changed it 50 times, however many times you want to say, but everybody has to do that. And what we don't see in social media is this period where your team, you actually just have to walk alone, but in doing that, working on it each day, each week, you get to a better place. And so just coming back again to the submission, being able to show that in your submission that you're already committing to doing that sets you way above and beyond so many other people that are building, because that's one of the hardest things to do.
100%. And yeah, from here, we just want to quickly talk about some other stuff. We're going to talk about, just briefly cover like what does the journey look like from being a hacker to a founder, right? I'm sure a lot of folks have joined this hackathon with the intention of taking their projects ahead, and that really is the magic of what is possible through this hackathon. And then I think what's essential there is you first of all, you should be a user, and just being a user um, you know uh, of crypto every day, that just gives you an edge over anybody else. I think it was Jesse who perhaps said it right. If you're not on chain daily, then you're really you'll really find it hard to build for folks, right? And then you also yeah you also need you also need to know your target audience, um, and then you also need to be close to the cause. So I think these are the three pillars that we think are really essential and really give you the edge over folks. I think, Will, do you want to add your thoughts to this?
Yeah, I think it's another like Aniket, if you could go to the next slide, there was one that I think is really important, and there's also another one I wanted to add. Actually, I think we took it out, or maybe it got moved. But also, people wonder like, hey, like fundraising. I want to build something. Like, how do I connect with investors? Like, because now the technology is becoming so accessible, because also we have things like ChatGPT, other forms of AI, like competing products. it's actually getting easier and easier to build things. And so we're becoming less and less inhibited by having to go out and hire an engineer, having to go out and hire a designer. And so if I could offer like insight from my own experience, it's just get out there and ship it. Try to solve a problem that you experience in your own life. That's a great way to form a frame of reference around something that might have an application, a solution that could be useful to others, like kind of talking to some of these other points. And then the other key that I would add is like with alongside like fundraising, if you start going out there and you're building community, you're starting to get activation on top of your product, that stuff comes. It really does. Like being able to show that you have something that people use is what unlocks those types of things. And then another dimension to that, often you see, and I think we've all been through it, like, oh, I wish I had more marketing, or if I got spotlit, or if I got featured here, that'll really help me take my app from 0 to 1. And again, that's actually it might give you some temporary attention, but products that solely rely like on heavy marketing are some of the hardest to run. It's almost like a steroid because that product doesn't have that underlying healthy relationship with their community. It doesn't have that ideal product market fit. The best way to build strength, the best way to have like a product that people are going to use is getting out there and grinding it out, building the community yourself, almost like going to the gym. Going to the gym every day. You probably heard me say this analogy before in office hours, but it's really true. Like you're the only one, you and your team, y'all are the only ones that can go to the gym and focus on building that community and iterating what you've built to achieve better product market fit. And that is the kind of stuff that really, at the end of the day, like takes you from being more of like a hacker mindset, which is great, like being nimble to craft like quick solutions to things, into like products that become lucrative, side hustles and beyond. So I'd really recommend just like, combining all of these suggestions together on these slides and to just get your product out there early and focus on building community and iterating what you've built based on their feedback. Sometimes like that collective feedback might be a lot different from what you had in mind, but that's okay. That's actually a good thing. That doesn't mean that you're bad. It doesn't mean that there's something wrong with you. It means you're doing the right thing and figuring out a solution to a problem that a lot of people have. So that's the only other thing that I would add there.
100%. And I think one of the projects that we like to regularly highlight, and if somebody has not checked it out yet, so InstaDapp was a project built at the ETH India Hackathon way back in 2018, and since then, like they decided to take their project ahead even after the hackathon, and now I think they're one of the top DeFi protocols. Have recently launched Fluid, and just really attested to the spirit of never stopping building, right? To never stop building. And then they're really, to their credit, so they kept their edge by being users, being close, by being, their target audience was DeFi pros, right? DeFi power users, and they really stuck to their target audience, understood the problems that they were facing, and built a project that really served them well. And that's how they have got to a point where I think right now they have about 2 billion USD TVL, so which is like completely insane for a project in this day and age, right? And to even have survived the test of time since then. And this was all possible for a team not very different than those folks who are participating in the hackathon today, right? So I think it's a good reference for you folks to look up to, and hope to see the next InstaDapp from the midst of you all.
Yeah, I think that's really great, and I feel like another frame of reference for this is like we're all builders being parts of these types of things because we want to do something in this space. We're trying to better connect with this space. We feel something innately within ourselves to be here together, working together, collaborating. And so, like, looking at the Buildathon, I would just think of that as like 1 mile, a few kilometers in the context of a marathon. And so, like, use this as an opportunity, like, to get connected to new people in this community. Base Discord, there's people talking every day, like in a whole bunch of different Buildathon channels that were just created in the last month. And so it's like a new journey for like a lot of people. So it's a great time to network, and then it's also a great opportunity to take what you're doing to the next level. So I think this is a great example of that. Like this team's not thinking about like, hey, I'm going to be done with this on June 30th. It's like, look what they did. And you can do that too. It's just that ultimately your team, you all are the ones that you're the only ones that can do the work. And so, but we have this community here to support it. So, it's 24/7, 365, I think, with like 120 different countries. So somebody's going to be online when you're building. But anyhow, yeah.
Perfect. Right. I think next up, Aniket is going to talk a bit about how you can actually submit your project for the Buildathon.
Yeah, thanks, Dinwar. Hey, folks, I'm Aniket. We'll just do a quick walkthrough on how do you submit your project to the hackathon. So, first thing is like you have to go to your Devfolio dashboard. That would be for Onchain Summer Buildathon. There's the URL here. What we'll also do is send over like a brief, maybe like after this workshop, so that you know where you can access your link. You can also even go to the homepage of the hackathon and just like access your dashboard from there. Basically, this is what your dashboard would look like. And then you have two options to submit a project. One is if you're hacking solo. What you can do is just click on the submitting solo tab over here and just go ahead and start adding your project. So you click the plus button over here, you can start creating your project. Next, if you're building with a team, then you have to click on the tab next to it. There's a tab called submitting in team. So in case you are looking to create a team, so you just go ahead, add the team name, create the team. That generates a team code which you can share with other builders who you wish to add to the team. And like as for the other builders, then they would be joining the team, so you would have access to the team code. Just enter that here and just click on join team, and you would be able to be a part of the team. And just a quick note over here, all team members must be added before submitting the project. Whoever has worked on the project, you must be adding them to the team. They would have also been have like they should also apply to the hackathon if they haven't yet, including the staking part and everything. And it should follow the team size restrictions that are there for the buildathon. Next, then like once you have created your team or you're submitting solo, you just click on the plus button to go ahead and start your submission. So this is what will pop up. So the first thing is the project name. What are you calling it? Tagline would be like a short, sharp, and on-point description of your project. Basically, can say like an elevator pitch. Can keep it like short and simple so that it's quick to understand like what your project is about. Then the problem it solves, which essentially is the project description. So and this is markdown supported, so you can be very creative. You can bold, you can italic, you can add images as well, whatever you feel that helps portray your project at the best. Next is also, I think, something we had discussed over the previous slides. Like, we love to know the challenges you ran into. How did you go about solving them? How did you fix it? So again, like, you can put your entire journey over there. Next is the technology tags. Basically, whatever technologies you have used, you can just add a comma separated list over here. You can add up to 10 tags in the field here. Next is the links. So primarily it would be, as we had discussed, like the live project link. You can just add the URL here. You can add up to 5 URLs. So I think like one would be the link to your deployed project, the GitHub where you're hosting your project, um, sorry, project repo, and other things which you feel might be relevant, like a Figma or a presentation, whatever you feel would help support your project. Another thing is like a video demo. So you can either uh, like record the video on your desktop or your laptop using other softwares. But in case you don't have it installed, we have like a very neat integration with Loom. So if you don't have a video, you can just like go ahead and use the one on Devfolio. Once we get to the demo, I can just quickly show how it looks like. And then you record the video from the platform itself. And once you're done, you click stop. The link is automatically added to the project submission. Next is like all the screenshots, all the relevant screenshots, the project logo, and all these things. So I can understand like the builders would be giving in a lot of their time into building their projects, but if you can also like given that there's still 11 days for the project, you can start planning on all these things, like how your projects are going to be looking like, because at the end of the day the judges are going to be doing it async. So the more the more meat you put in, the more clear it is on how the project looks like. It's easier for the judges to understand as well. And as Will and Denver had covered earlier, the link to the deployed project, that would be wonderful. And the next important thing that I specifically wanted to highlight was the applicable tracks. So each project is applicable for one track out of the 8 tracks that are there. So you will be able to select one of them, and then a description box will open up onto why does your project fit the particular track. So we want you to explain over here, like what makes your project fit over there, so that when the judges go through it, it gives them additional context as well. And for the additional prizes that are up for grabs, you will be able to select multiple of them. So whatever you're building, you basically just select them and then also add like a description on how does it fit into the additional tracks. So for folks who have their projects in draft, or even if you have submitted, we have seen like a lot of submissions already come in. You can still edit your project as well. I'll get to that bit shortly. So if you want to edit this, you want to add more tracks for the additional tracks, feel free to just edit your project and reflect all the changes over there. Once you're done filling all of that, you can just click on preview submission, and then you can basically see all the details you have submitted, and there would be a save button at the bottom, which will let you save the project. So just a heads up, once you save your project, it is still under draft mode. It will show up it will show up like this on your Hacker dashboard, and then there is a separate button which you need to click for it to be eligible for judging. So once you have added your project, you can go ahead and still edit it. You want to redo the entire thing, you can just delete and redo your submission. But then once everything is done, you can submit your project as well. And another heads up, we would still recommend that click on submit project for judging, but that is something you can still edit till the deadline, the Buildathon deadline. So even if you have submitted the project, you can see there's still a edit project CTA over here where you can just go ahead and keep editing that. And so I think that is what Will also had covered, that we want you to submit whatever progress you have made and then keep editing it till the Buildathon deadline. Also not keeping it for the last minute, because if there are any last minute issues, it becomes difficult for to accommodate additional requests. So I think what I'm going to do is quickly just do a demo. Just give me a quick second. I'll just set it up. I'm just going to reshare my screen. Cool. So the link was Onchain devfolio.co/onchain-summer/dashboard. We can drop the link in the chat box as well. So as you can see, this is your hacker dashboard, and the options we had covered earlier, submitting solo. So I can just go ahead and click on the plus button icon to start my submission, or if you're joining as a team, so I can just go ahead and create a team. That generates an invite code, and this is something I'll just send to my teammates, and then uh, basically like for them it will just show up as like the joining team flow, so they can just click on this and join the team. And once you have added everyone, then you should essentially initiate your project submission. Just another PSA on that, that you should add all the team members before you start adding a project, because you won't be able to edit that once the project has been submitted. So I'm just going to click on add project over here. And as you can see, it is the same view that we just covered. So project X, I'm just going to add some random things. So the tagline, the problem it solves, again, this is like Markdown supported. So if I just like add this real quick, so you can see like, it is marked as bold. The challenges you ran into, this is also Markdown supported. And as you can see, the changes are being reflected. The technology tag, so if you're using, of course, you'll be using base, so you just drop in that as a technology tag. And then again, you get to links over here. Then, essentially like your GitHub repo, um, just gonna add like a very random link. So you just add the links, hit enter, then the deployed links, all the links that are relevant for your project. Here, then if you have already uploaded as an unlisted video, or like it's on YouTube, you can just paste the link over here. Or if you want to use the Loom integration we have, so you just click on the Loom button, click on Let's Go, and then this should open up like a modal over here with your video, audio all enabled, and you can just start recording. And once you're done recording, it will just add the link over here directly. Then there's cover image, pictures. The pictures would basically essentially be the screenshots, whichever you feel like are important phases in your project flow. You can add all those things. Select the platforms the project is built for. So mostly it's going to be web. Then as let's say I'm building for the payments track. So as I click that, there's a description box that opens up that asks me for like, why does it fit? It fits for XYZ reasons. I'm just going to add that. And then additional tracks, you will be able to select as many that are applicable. And for every track you select, there's a description box that pops up. So yeah, once you have added all the fields, you can just click on preview submission, go through it real quick, and just click on save project. So another heads up over here, once you click on save project, this is not going as your final submission. This will just save the progress you've made so far. I think there is a slight issue with my internet. So yeah, like basically, like once you click on save project, you'll be able to see the card which says that you can either edit or delete the project, or you can just submit it for judging. And another heads up that once you submit it for judging, you can still edit it till the project deadline. So let me just quickly show that again. So yeah, this is essentially what it would look like. So yeah, that's pretty much about the project submission flow. Let me just reshare my tab so that we can go with the next slides.
Looks good. Yeah, and just following on to what you said, I would highly recommend like everybody to just go ahead and submit now. Like fill out the submission, submit it to the judges now, and then edit it before June 30th. Because saving that for the end is just like it. Ideally, like it's good over the next week if you can be thinking about like how you can iterate with what you've done so far, add polish to all that stuff that you just put in, focus on the live site. And then one of the things we're going to talk about for next week is that it's also going to be a good opportunity to connect with us, to talk about what you've built, to really polish it up before the end of the month. And you don't have to carve out that time to be typing away explaining what you did, but actually focusing on making what you did better. So,
yeah, 100%. So yeah, given that the next week is going to be the final week for the Buildathon, I hope everyone would be in their sprint mode. So in order to assist you with that, we will be having mentorship hours starting Monday, and that would be on the base gather space. So here mentors would be joining in, so you can also drop in on the gather space, interact with mentors, get feedback on your project, those last minute tips and tricks which you get that can really change the course of your project. I think like you should definitely make the best out of this. This will also be a virtual co-working space. for the Onchain Summer Buildathon. And do keep an eye out on the future announcements that we are going to be making regarding when the space is open, when are the mentorship hours. We are going to be sending like a detailed schedule for that shortly. And how do you get to be a part of this? So there is a important checkpoint over here. So for people, we have essentially to just check in on the builders at the Buildathon. We have created a quick mid Buildathon check-in form, and essentially like we are asking about the progress. If you have any blockers, what are the things you need help with, and all of those specific things we are looking to collect. And once you fill out that form, we will be sending you an invite to the gather space. And once we also have the schedule out, you will be able to join in those particular hours. Again, after this workshop, you will be receiving an email with all the important links, such as the check-in form itself, the project submission flow. All these things will be covering in the email. So important thing here is that you do fill out this form. If you are submitting solo, then of course you submit it for yourself. But if you are submitting as a part of a team, only one person from the team needs to fill out the form. Not everyone has to do it, otherwise it just becomes redundant. Only one person from the team should be submitting the response for the check-in form. So I think anything else, Denver and Will, you'd like to add over
I
here?
saw some feedback from Sterling in the chat. Thanks, Sterling. He said that that link there was an issue with, but the QR code works. So super important. If you want to connect next week, you want to talk about your project submission, you have questions, you're running into issues, you want to come to the gather space for office hours, take a picture of the QR code and bookmark that form and submit that form today. So, or if you're watching this recording later, try to submit it before next week. We're going to do one on Monday, and we're setting some up for also later in the week. So definitely we'll want to get you in there if you want to be part of it. But most importantly, you need to take a photo of the QR code and submit that form so that we got you on the radar so we can send you the gather invite. So yeah. And that's it. So it's the 19th of June. Like I can't believe that it's gone by. It's like I think they say the days are long, but the years are short, because it feels like we've had some long days, like working together in Telegram and Discord. A bunch of people here today hanging out, but this has gone by really fast also at the same time. And I think it's really exciting how for so many of us this is something new. It's the first Buildathon. It's new for us too, and just seeing so many people from all over 120 different countries, plus 5,000 people staked ETH to submit projects. It's just so amazing. So it's just the beginning, and we'll be sharing some details on email. So keep an eye on your email box. Probably tomorrow, if you fill out that form for the gather invite. And yeah, thanks a bunch for being here for the workshop. So take care, y'all. I feel like I'm gonna, for people that do want to stick around, I did notice some questions in the chat, and I just wanted to do a quick scroll through to make sure nobody got left hanging on their question. So anybody that you got other things to do, thanks again for being here. Really appreciate y'all sharing time. And then anybody else that asked questions, not going to leave you hanging. So let's just do a quick scroll through here. Zaid said, "What's a week? Feels like it's been 4 months." Yes. Hiroyuki, building 16 hours every day. I can personally attest to that. I know Hiroyuki is just super based and building all the time. He's like one of the most helpful people in our node operators channel on Discord, just around at like all hours, helping people. Super awesome. Okay, let's see. I'm gonna do a quick, still going. Will there be office hours again, Christina? If you're still here, or if I see you on the recording, thanks for being here. We are going to do office hours in the Gather space, like I was just talking about. So submit the form from that QR code you scanned. Still scrolling through here. Do we need a video / etc. if we have a demo? Aniket, is the demo link a required field on the form?
So the links page, like where you can add up to 5 links, at least one link is mandatory over there. Regarding the video demo, that is not a mandatory link, but that is something we would recommend people adding as part of the submission. Since the judging is going to be async, it is
Cool.
good to put all the context over there and let the judges go through the video as well.
Cool. So the
Yeah,
answer, yeah, it's not required, but encouraged. And I also agree. I think it's good, like Edward, if you can do like just even like a 1 minute explainer video. Like think about when, you as a builder, like somebody's asking like, hey, what do you do? What is this? Like, how do you explain it to them in like 30 to 60 seconds in a way that like you say that to 50 people and they all come away after those 30 to 60 seconds understanding it the same way. And that is like, I think a key ingredient is like a really good explainer video. If you have to, go really into the technical details, chances are that maybe you have, 20, 30 judges. They might not all parse that the same way. So I would always default to, quick, succinct, to the point. And yeah, let's see what other questions we have here. Daniel, thanks so much. Daniel said, such a supportive space. Building on base is actually unique compared to other EVM chains. Seeing that the base community values experimental protocols that offer new experiences makes us feel even more welcome. We're all experimenting as part of this. Is one big experiment, and this is all one big lab we're part of. So it's so cool that like it's just completely flat. Like, we're all elbow to elbow trying to figure this out, and we're building it together. So, Kian, is it a requirement that what you're building is normie friendly? Absolutely not. It's going to really depend on, who your target audience is. Like I think the analogy I used earlier, or the example I used earlier, is like if you're building something for node operators, that's going to be completely different than, maybe like a social network. And so I think this at the uh, most important part of that is that it should be specifically in reference to the people that you want to use what you built. So definitely doesn't have to be normie friendly. If what your project is like, for example, something really technical. But I do feel like the more people that can understand it easily, the better. Like, if you can summarize what you're doing in a few sentences and somebody can go to your landing page, and even if I'm not like a node operator, I know, oh, this is like a app that makes it really easy to deploy base nodes. I don't know what a base node is, hypothetically, but yeah, makes sense. This isn't for me because I'm not a node operator, but like that kind of stuff, just a quick 5 to 10 seconds. They should be able to parse it. Jose said, what if it's a native app? Is TestFlight okay for submission versus a web link? Or do we need to submit live in the App Store? So, Jose, I would say you will know best here as like a hacker founder for like a native app. Like ideally, like as like a builder trying to do something in the space, I feel like the ability to be out there live for people is the most important part of people being able to give you feedback about what you've built, and then most importantly iterating so you can make it better into something that a lot of people will use. And so if you can't do that by the end of the buildathon, that's okay. Like if you're trying to submit something in the App Store, for example, that's completely out of your control. But what I would do is really clearly explain that in your submission, and try as much as you can to give something to the judges that they can engage with, not just read. So if that's a test flight app, that's good. Even better is a web link, like a PWA, or ultimately something in the App Store. So let's see. Daniel asked, how do we find all these projects submitted? yeah, we posted that link into the chat box. So maybe we can post that one more time so people don't have to scroll up, if you don't mind. Here it is. Here's how you can see the projects. And let's see. Daniel was saying, like, in real life events are really huge. Meeting like-minded builders in person, learning from each other is amazing. That's the idea that we have for this gather space, is like, we're still all over the world, but if there's like a virtual space that we can get together, it's not in real life, but that's like the foundation that I think in real life relationships are made of. And so at some time, at some point or another, we're all going to end up, some of us at different parts of the world, maybe at an event, and we're going to know each other from being here in this community. So, but yeah, I agree. In real life is also super good. Emmanuel said, I completed registration, but have not submitted my project yet. Is it closed? Nope. You can submit, you can stake ETH all the way up until the end of the month. I would highly recommend not doing that, because the time is now to literally, if you haven't staked ETH and completed your registration, I would do that today, or as soon as you get done watching this recording. If we have here 11 days until the 30th, and focus on your submission, and getting that all teed up, submit it to the judges, and then refining it over the next week. Mirko said, until when can we send applications? You can send them for 11 more days until June 30th. And then Gonzalo said, quick question to double check, no office hours tomorrow on Discord, right? That's right, Gonzalo. No office hours tomorrow. We're going to do office hours next week on Gather. So scan that QR code. And then Daniel said, open source backend is also required to connect. Correct. We encourage it. But think like, I'm not telling you what to do, but I'm saying just like as our mental model for reference for what we talked about in this workshop, thinking like a founder, what's best. Like, it's not always that you can make your backend completely open. But the more that you can open up what you're building in this open economy, the more you're also opening up for people to be able to contribute to it. And so I think that's an important ingredient, and why, at least from the base team, we default to open. We try to open source as much as we can, because that's what unlocks the world to also being able to be a part of contributing to it as well. So, depending on your context, that might not be the right way to slice it. If you're doing something super specific in the payment track, like maybe your contracts are open source, but they're verified, but other parts are not, and that's certainly understandable. So just note that in your submission. I think we're getting close to the end here. And yes, judging happens after the 30th of Shroff. And it will, yeah, if you want to check out the schedule on the site, I'll send the link here for you can see like the timeline. But that'll happen during the first couple weeks of July. Just go to the Devfolio site for that. So I believe that Aniket, if you could share that link, that'd be super helpful. Thank you. Yeah, and then they won't be judged until after the deadline. So Sterling, you can submit early. You can submit to judges early. No judges are going to look at this and judge it until after the deadline. So it's purely just to get it in there and not have to focus on that over the next week. And let's see, Eugene, somehow my question disappeared. Judges need real tokens to try and test our service. So Eugene, that one's going to be tricky, ensuring that the judges have your tokens. Maybe set up like a faucet or something to that effect. Like you might have to leverage testnet there to demonstrate that part. Like if they can change their network to base Sepolia, faucet the tokens. If you need testnet tokens, you can ask us. We can get you testnet ETH. If you need a large balance, I would recommend deploying your own token on base Sepolia, so you can, hand out millions and millions of them, and people can use that in your app. So, all right. Zaid said, "Hey Will, if my submission works for more than one primary track and I can't choose more than one, will the judges decide if it fits one better than other, or how would that then work?" So the judges will not decide for you. You should try to decide for yourself. Um, hey, this is what I feel like most likely represents the track that my target audience is in, that I'm, the group of people that I'm trying to connect with and build for, the problem I'm trying to solve. So if you have any questions about that, fill out that form, scan that QR code, come to office hours next week, and we can take a look at what you're building and, share feedback. But yeah, we won't tell you what the judges won't tell you what track you're in. You as the hacker, the founder of this initiative, this product that you're making, the core developer will determine that. So Mike said, can I submit more than one project? Yes, you can, Mike. So what you need to do is on Devfolio, you need to create a second account. And then, like, let's say if you have Gmail, use your Gmail alias. Like, so let's say your email is mike@gmail.com. Do Mike plus submission2@gmail.com. And then you need to stake again. And the reason you have to do that is because staking once enables you to submit one project. It wouldn't be fair if one person could stake and then they could submit like 500 projects. It would really dilute and create a lot of noise around other like really important projects that judges are going to look at, so that those builders also can have their chance to get their projects out there and be seen and stuff. So but yeah, that's the best way to do that. And then I think that's the end. So no more questions. But if you think of one when you're watching this video or after, just come over to base.org/Discord. I'm W Benz over there. You can also tag me on Warpcast or X, and we're happy to help. And if we don't see you there, then maybe see you in some of the office hours next week, or somewhere else on base. But anyhow, cheers. Thanks again, y'all, for sharing time. Take care.
Right. Thanks everyone for joining.
Yeah. It's awesome. Take
Thanks,
care,
folks.
everybody.